As a kid, I used to hang out down by the creek a lot. And I just want to point out how cool is this view, especially for all the little creatures that live around here, which has me thinking about when I was a kid and all the imaginary stuff that I used to think about. You know, was it real? Were dragons real? Was this real? Was that real? How cool would it be if certain things we believed and loved as kids, you know, came true and something was out there like mythical? How awesome would that be? My girls, when they were growing up, we watched a lot of Tinkerbell movies together, and they would ask me about fairies if they were real. And I would, of course, say yes. But how cool would it be if they were? Think about it. Things get fixed in nature, leaves gets painted in the fall, ladybugs get them little black dots on them, all because, fairies. They put it on there. So let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. What would you like from a kid in your imagination? What would you like to be real? Bigfoot counts, dragons count. Bigfoot hanging out with aliens roasting marshmallows definitely counts. So let's have a conversation like Andy and I always say in these podcasts is, let's talk. What do you want to happen? I mean, why not? Mermaids, how cool would that be? All that fun stuff. Keep thinking like a tinker.
I'm checking in down here to talk a little bit too about Kobe's question. When I was a kid, that's what it was all about, was the imagination and wondering about the mythical creatures. I remember when we were kids, we had a camp out in Mercer, and it's in the middle of nowhere. We had to use kerosene heaters, no running water, and would go up for the weekend and would go on this hike, and there's this big, huge rock. And it looked like there was a door, so we called it Troll Rock, and we always pretended that there was a troll that lived in there. And I think we came up with the idea of a troll because of the movie Ernest Scared Stupid. I loved that movie as a kid, but I was also terribly afraid of it. And as we grew older, that kind of never went away. We talked about D&D a little bit in one of the episodes, and I have my core 5th edition D&D books, the Player's Manual, Monster Manual for if you're running the game, the Dungeon Master's Guide for if you're running the game. I gotta set those over on the table, but like the imagination and the creatures. I also thought when you talked about that, the movie Bright, I mentioned that to you. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. It's a Will Smith film. And it kind of is like, what would it be like today if all these mythical beasts and creatures were alive? But my answer to Kobe's question, what is the thing as a kid that would be so cool if it was real? It's not a mythical creature. I'm going to branch out a little bit on this one here. And I want you to think about it too and to branch out a little bit too, because it doesn't just have to be maybe a mythical creature or a thing. And I get it from the aspect of walking down the trail, but think if I could have one thing that has been a dream to be real, I would pick a time machine. And at that, we look forward to looking at the comments and seeing what yours is.